Colorado woman is being ordered to stop work on her greenhouse and take it down. This is a project she says she has spent more than $150,000 on. Our reporter Tony Keith joins us to explain more about this. Tony.
Yeah, Bree, Virginia Loop, she reached out to us wanting to share her story. She's poured her heart and soul into this. It's a nearly 3,000 square foot greenhouse on her property in Divide. But officials in Teller County tell us why they issued a stop work order and why Virginia has to take this down.
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel. City boy! City boy! Thought this was an interesting story. I'm just checking it out randomly. Colorado woman fighting to keep greenhouse. We're watching Channel 5 news. This is a local news in Colorado. And I wanted to check this out. So if you guys want to check that out over there, I'm Black Pegasus, link in the description of my other channels. And yeah, man, rock, like, share, comment, subscribe. But I was curious because, you know, I forget where this is, but her greenhouse is for produce. It's not for Mary Jane. And it is interesting because I know homies who've like done the underground, you know, growing Mary Jane in Colorado before it became super legal. And even when it was legal, they're, you know, dancing in the gray area to produce product before it went fully legal, because once it went fully legal, the value of it went down extremely. So, you know, seeing this woman, I don't understand the context, but what I do understand is the government creates these really interesting laws and rules. Like the one that I never knew until I think maybe the last 10 years I found out. I didn't know this, but like it's illegal, I believe, in the city of Colorado or Colorado. I don't know. It's illegal basically to collect rainwater, filter it and drink it and stuff like that. It's illegal to collect rainwater. And I got to look that up. But y'all know what I'm talking about, these crazy laws. And then you start thinking about the industries and if, you know, like, why would it be illegal to clean water that, you know what I'm saying, that's just like runoff water too, right? Like people just take, they need their water on their lawn, that, you know, we need the environment, but runoff water, it's just, you think about why do we have a lawn? And smart people get mulch or put out rocks and stuff like that. But you start to think, why do we have a lawn? Why don't we just grow food? They talk about people being broke. They talk about people being poor, homeless, people starving. And when you think about if every person who had a lawn grew something that could, you know, there's just more value in it. Anyways, I know there's topsoil and you got to have this, that, and the other. But sometimes I just wonder, like, we spend all this time. I see people fertilizing their lawn, doing all this stuff just to have green grass. And I'm like, grass is worthless unless it was like lemongrass. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let's hear this lady out, see what the hell's going on in Colorado. This is where I live, so I like to check up on things and put it out there since I have a worldwide audience.
Take this down.
I'm not giving up on my dream. And it's not just for my greenhouse, it's for the rights of every person in Teller County.
Virginia Loop tells me she started this greenhouse project in June of 2024 with no issues for about a year.
My neighbors are really excited. Produce is expensive. I mean, we're at 9,200 feet elevation. And just to truck all of that food up here is a huge gas guzzler.
The county now says the greenhouse needs to come down for a few reasons. The first, it was built without a permit, according to this letter I received from the county. Virginia says that she had a conversation with a code enforcement officer about not needing a permit.
He was unfamiliar with the building code and with the land use regulations and asked me to email him over why I felt I didn't need a permit to do this. And so I sent him the email showing the taxation code and the Farm Stand Act.
That state act allows farm stands to operate on any size of land and sell agricultural products grown on the property. The Teller County Administrator tells me the act does not apply to this situation because this is a commercial greenhouse, and this property off Moss Rock Court on the northwest side of Divide is zoned for residential. The letter adds that Virginia has mentioned selling what is grown.
This building is absolutely allowed in this zone. The only problem they're citing is that I plan to sell it or help my neighbors out.
Virginia tells me she was under the impression.
Oh, this is interesting. I wonder if there's a workaround. So essentially, it's zoning issues, and this happens a lot, bro. Like, so they're talking about this is zoned as residential. So if she was just growing this for herself, no problem. But if she tries to sell it, problem, because it comes commercial. I remember this happening when I was looking at these condos in Hawaii, because my wife and family love Hawaii. And so I was finding out, I was like, why are these 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom condos so expensive? And what I found out is because they're zoned as hotels, because people typically will buy a condo and not stay in Hawaii the full time. They'll rent it out. So they're zoned as like a commercial or something like that. And essentially what happens is because of that, there's more value there. So they sell more. Because I was just like, yo, this is like, at the time I was looking, there like a 1-bedroom was 600,000 and now they're like close to $1 million or 1.2. But there's some properties in, let's say, Kanapali, like right on the beach type things. And essentially what people do will Airbnb them, they'll rent them out, they'll do stuff like that. So zoning is a thing. But it seemed like she covered her bases because she did send the email and they showed the email. However, let's hear this out. I don't want to go crazy, but I do understand the zoning predicament. But what I was going to get at is like, look, man, I don't know if you guys know, but like in America at some capacity, it's illegal, or at least illegal in some states to sell raw milk from cows or goats. Illegal. And so we needed raw goat's milk for my daughter's diet because of her arthritis. And I found out that instead of buying it, what you do is you find a local person who's selling at some capacity. I don't know how you say it, but you give them money and now you own a share of the goat and you're collecting your share of the goat milk. That's how you do it. Because there's a lot of people on the underground that drink raw milk. Because what I found out is that, there's health concerns from the FDA, but the raw milk has all these enzymes and stuff that are actually good for your gut biome. Anyway, I ain't going to get in the weeds on that because I don't even know what you can talk about on YouTube. So let me take that back. Allegedly, there's enzymes in raw milk that could or couldn't be good for your gut biome. But there is a lot of people who drink raw milk if you really start asking around, and it's pretty wild. It's all the health nut people. And that's how they do it. They have to do it like you have to buy a share of the cow or the goat to be able to do it, because at some capacity, you're not allowed to do that. Anyways, we haven't done that in a while because the goats couldn't keep up with the demand for the milk. So that was kind of a thing too. But anyways, all right, let's listen to this.
Based on conversations she says she had in June of 2024 with code enforcement, that she didn't need to apply for a permit for an agricultural building until she started electrical work. County records show a permit was pulled for electrical work in May, and soon after is when she was hit with this stop work order.
So I went to the Planning and Building Department to file an appeal and stating the reasons, and I brought the email from the code enforcement, and they said that I needed to talk to the director. But they pulled the first stop work order so I could finish the electricity in the building. We put $15,000 more electricity in the building. And then when that got inspected, they gave me another stop work order.
Now the county is issuing these required actions: stop all commercial activity, remove the quote unpermitted illegal greenhouse, and resolve well water usage. Virginia tells me she trucks her water in for the greenhouse from a water haul station, so she believes water isn't an issue here. She plans to fight to keep this greenhouse.
We have 27,000 residents of this county, and with what I've experienced at your building and planning department is nothing but overreach and a bully.
Okay, I get it. So when she was talking about the elevation, she's talking about essentially the area they live in. To get the produce brought to their neck of the woods, the price goes up because of all these things, and the immediate fix is her starting this greenhouse growing stuff and selling to the residents of that area, which I mean, let's keep it real. As much as we want to talk about freedom in America, oh, we're free, we're this, we're that. There's laws, rules, regulations, and codes, and a lot of them I don't agree with. You know, living off the land and like it's just so crazy how they can interfere with, you know, your stuff. However, when you're dealing with business and commercial, we all know that corporate and da 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 have a lock on that. It isn't like it's so funny how things work though, you know, because I see people come from other countries and find loopholes, dog. I see it. I see it. Them fill a cooler with burritos and hustle burritos after the club. Some people have licenses, some don't. They figure it out, right? It's just funny when you're at a smaller level, you can just get around these things. Like, oh, I got a, you know, cooler full of burritos and I made $300, $400 in a night. You know what I'm saying? You do that on the weekend and you're making $1,500 a week, give or take. And it just is what it is. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Building a greenhouse is different, but it does seem like she tried to go the right way. But what I would say is talk to a lawyer. You know, obvious she's talking to a lawyer. You could tell she has money. Good for her. But, you know, figure that out. I think fighting for this would be good. I think if she could figure it out. I also think there's potentially loopholes where they do like some type of produce share, like just have all the people in the neighborhood become a part of it, you know, and then it kind of pays for itself, or potentially do a donation based, you know, what do they do? Start a nonprofit and then do a donation for produce type of thing. I mean, there has to be a loophole. That's what is cool also about America, because the laws and shit, like there's always a loophole. If you can just figure it out, you just have to understand the whole system and the whole game, and then that's how you find the loophole. So I don't know. Let's see what they're going out.
We do have the county's full letter to Virginia on our website, KOAA.com. Last I checked in, they had not taken legal action. Virginia adds that as she fights to keep her greenhouse, the idea of moving it to another area that is zoned for agriculture would be too costly. Now, I did request an interview with the county, although I have not heard back on that request. I'll keep you updated on this fight. Bree?
Well, thank you for that story, Tony. Very interesting. All right, let's get back to meteorologist Lauren Brand just for a look at today's weather and what we can expect out the door this morning.
Well, getting everybody.
Meteorologists are starting to hit different. Yo, the meteorologists, what? These weren't the meteorologists on the news when I was a kid. Hold up, dog. Let's see what these comments are talking about. We can sell farmland to the Chinese next to military base, but our own citizens can't make a greenhouse. Makes me freaking sick to my stomach. Bro, that's what I was talking about at the beginning. And y'all can clarify, because, I'd be taking in all this information and then sometimes regurgitating it improperly. But like that shit kind of messed me up when I found out, you can't even store like rain or runoff water. You can't collect it legally. People still do it. I see those like in my dad's neighborhood. He lives in Widefield. It's right by Fort Carson. I see people like these big containers just hanging off the side of their houses, connected to the whatever the, I don't want to say the word's not pipe, but the drainage, the little the house rain drain things. You know what I'm talking about. Keep fighting, lady. Government overreach at its finest. In the land of the free, you're not even allowed to grow food. Government overreach needs to end. We need more people growing food. See, I said a lot of this. I said, why have a lawn when you can grow food? It doesn't make sense. Everyone, and I mean everyone, needs to start pushing back and voting out politicians. I agree. Who cares about... This is what's crazy. This is what's crazy. This is what is insane. I get it. There's rules and regulations. This is why I haven't even bought a house, you guys. Because the type of house that I want... If I'm going to spend all this money, like, in Colorado, you're talking about $600,000 to $1 million, and that's what you're looking at, buying a house in a nice area. I'll be damned if I put all this investment that I can't pull out and grow the money right away. Like, I'll be damned if I buy something with an HOA, with a this, with a that. I will be damned if that happens. So I'm just like, I don't even know, because there's always these barriers to entry. I'm like, I'll just put the money in vehicles that grow it and rent. It just makes more sense right now with inflation, with the interest rates, with the inflated cost of housing, with all the nonsensical little rules and, barriers to entry. When the boomers get on the channel, say, no, buying a house was the best investment of my life, it might have been back then. Interest was like crazy though. And I think it was the 80s. I think it was the 80s. I forget. It had a spike to like 14% or something wild. But anyways, like, dog, this isn't back then. Houses aren't 100 grand, 200 grand anymore, man. Like a $200,000 crib is a freaking apartment or condo in the ghetto surrounded by gang violence. So yeah, I'm good on that. The only reason this is an issue is because local politicians aren't making any money. Facts. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The issue that's crazy too is like, I get the zoning, commercial, resident. She's going against that. It's a residential area and she's trying to do a commercially viable thing, right? But the funny thing is she did it commercially. There's going to be taxes involved in that business. You can't really get around taxes. The issue is with produce, it's hard for them unless you got the GMO Terminator seeds for them to track what's being sold and stuff. That's what's kind of crazy about produce and stuff. Like when you grow things, it's hard to track, So I don't know how that would work, but typically if you're selling stuff, the person buying is paying a tax and the person selling is paying a tax. That's just normal if she's doing it the proper way. You don't need to sell your produce to your neighbors. Just put a sign requesting a donation. See, that's what I was referring to. Freedom of farm laws are real. She needs a better lawyer. The lesson here is to keep your mouth shut. Never tell any government agency the truth. This is a great example. Yeah, her talking about selling it was not a good look for her. Okay, so add an extension to the house and call it a sunroom. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. See, people are so innovative. This is what I was talking about. Innovation and ingenuity. And that comes with being American, dog. Straight up. Americans be like this. It's just because of where we're from. They just start thinking of ways around the processes. Anyway, shout out to Colorado. Shout out to her. I think it's valiant that she's trying to grow food for her community and stuff like that. Hopefully she don't get caught up in the weeds. If I see a follow-up story, I'll cover it. Holla at your boy.
City boy! City boy!